All right. So I'm going to bring up two coming up, and they have something in common, which I will let you explain.
Okay. Yeah. So again, I lived for a few years in Toronto. This was one of the first images I took on my Canon DSLR. Again, you could probably see from this I was first out experimenting with the HDR part of it. So I've got the colors probably turned up to 11 for me on here. I would probably, if I was editing that now, I may dial that back somewhat in the top part of it.
Hmm.
Still wanting to keep some of the rocket in there. It's the that sense of movement that I was after. Hand holding this at probably an eighth of a second on my with my 1020 lens on it.
Yeah, man, those slow shutter speeds, eh? Hard to hold that still.
Well, you brace yourself. I learned all that. Creating triangles. Leaning against a hydro pole or something. To create some stability.
Nice. Nice. I heard a trick of I don't know if you call it a trick, just trying to keep your elbows in, like against
Yes.
your body, to try
Yeah.
like to avoid that wobble.
Yeah. I do. I do that too. If I'm using my cell phone, I will again. I'm in tight, and I am shooting here.
Nice. And the other commonality, of course, as you mentioned, the rocket. Here's another
Yeah.
photo featuring public transit in Toronto, and this is fantastic. This is reminds me of many a day going to work in Toronto on public transit.
Well, that's right. And the funny thing is, that is right on Spadina Avenue. I am stood more or less on Queen Street,
Okay.
looking north, and this image is called heading north. Um, those that row of trees, I think the majority of them are still there. Of course, the old rockets are gone now and been replaced with the newer ones. Gone into the city. I already knew that there was going to be a blizzard. There was going to be a snowstorm, and I had gone out intentionally to try and capture streetcars in the snow. I basically got Spadina to myself, and yeah, it again, it's that contrast between nature, on the right of the image with the trees, the metropolis, the city, and the buzz of the city on the left, with the streetcar. It's going on, and one of those is again coming back full circle to where we started off on this conversation, where not everybody's out in that weather. I'm not saying that I am out on every day when it's snowy or it's chucking it down with rain, but there are, there are fewer people out on those days, but then the opportunity to capture stuff is the same as any day that you go out.
Mhm.
It's just that your images are going to be different at that point, because most people, if they're, for the majority of people, they are going out and taking pictures. If they can say, hey, I'm going to go out and take pictures of streetcars, they're going out when it's a sunny day and they're
Mm.
warm or whatever. Streets are full, and on that particular time, I kind of knew that what I was going to be. I think I battled the traffic to get down there and parked on University Avenue and walked up, and I didn't know at that point that I was going to be going to Spadina. I was just out, probably shot a whole roll of, not a whole roll, but hundreds of photos as I'm walking around, and then bang, you get that particular image. I don't know about you, but there's times when I've gone out. I've gone into, I make a trek into the city, and you wander around and you're going, I wasn't all that inspired today. The light didn't seem right, and things are not kind of falling into place, and then you're heading back to the car, or you're heading back, to go home, and then something will just show up on the horizon, and something will catch your eye. And that, I don't know how many times I have been out on a shoot, and you think, shit, I really got nothing today, and then you come back, or you're just getting back, and then something happens, and it's there. And have you ever been, and you're driving along, and you see something out the corner of your eye, and you see it, and you've got to take a picture of it, and you're turning the vehicle around, and you're going back to get it, and again, it takes me back to the coffee shop in Jasper, and the two nuns there, and the guy. I'm going, I wish I wish I'd gone back. And there's times when there's been that picture there, and I should have gone back and taken that picture. Now I'll turn the car around now, and I go back. It's something that's there. I'll turn around, or I'll go back, and then there are other times where I've seen those things, and I'm going, that'd be good, that'd be kind of interesting, but the light hasn't been right. And I've stopped a few times now, right on the 401. As you come down from Peterborough on the 115, as it's joining back onto the 401, I've stopped my car there. There's this landscape, and going back, it's my landscape image here of trees on a hill. I had seen that image in my mind's eye for years before I actually stopped my vehicle. And I was coming back one Sunday morning, gray fall day. The trees are just skeletons on the horizon. And I pulled my car over onto the hard shoulder of the 401, and I got out. I went across the ditch, and I went into the field, and I got my images. But I had that image in my mind's eye for a long time before I actually got there. And it's happened to me a couple of times where I've gone back, but often I just, if there's something there, I'll turn the car around, and I'll go and have a look. Hey, you know what? You've spent 5 minutes, 10 minutes doing it, and sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes you got the image, and other times it's ho hum. You know what? I'll try it another time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I remember it was just last week, and this wasn't photo, it was video, but I was coming back from a distillery, and I wanted to get some B-roll of the area they're in, just to kind of add to the video. And a lot across Alberta here, there's tons of these old barns and farmhouses and grain silos that are all just kind of like dilapidated, rolled, rotted wood, that they just kind of look like they belong in some apocalyptic movie. So
love it.
I drove by one, and I was on the way to go to an oil pump jack to get some footage of that. I'm like, oh, I really should come back here to get that little house there. And so I go to the pump jack, which is just off the highway. I come back onto the highway, and I wait as these transport trucks, 3 in a row, have these massive like overturned grain silos that they have they have the spotters at the front and the back of the load, so it's like a 5-vehicle convoy. I was like, oh my God, I need to drive fast, get past these guys, get back to that house, because if I can situate myself, then I could get this tiny little house with these massive grain silos going by. And it was just this perfect synchronous moment where I was able to get that to happen. So absolutely right.
That is what we are talking about, how you already saw that image in your head. You'd already envisaged it. And I had that image in my mind's eye of what I had wanted at the time. And you went and you made that happen. Yeah, that's good.